First driver, Carrington, gets dumped by Benami. The leaders are winding up here. Daytona, the big one is out. Good evening, race fans, and welcome back to the 2022 Midwest Sim Racing Association Rapid Fired Pizza Nationals. Today we're at Phoenix Raceway, the 1 mile tricky oval with the open dog leg. And as always, I'm your host, James Eastbury, the Action 1080p 60 frames a second, as drivers are making their way out onto the grid here today. It's going to be David Centini starting on pole. Evan Longacre starts second. Braxton DeWeese starting third. Matthew Dyer starts fourth. Billy Fitzgerald fifth on the grid. Then we've got Diego Villalobos starting sixth. Matt White starts seventh. Timothy Davis starting eighth. Matt White starting seventh. Then you've got Julio Villalobos starts ninth. Barry Stevens starting 10th. Brent Wall starting 11th. Bobby Harmon starts 12th on the grid. Cycled a little bit further back, and it looks like it's going to be the number 55 of Scott Stevens starts 13th. Robert Norfleet starting 14th. Colby Baber starts 15th. Mike Howerton 16th on the grid. Kyle Mulring starts 17th. John Binder starting 18th. John Guru starts 19th. And Richard Malugani starting 20th to round out the field here today. Going to be interesting to see what happens. As we've seen in the past, things have been a little bit exciting here at the Rapid Fired Pizza National Series. Now we've got a long night ahead of us, 175 laps that will be interrupted with at least one planned caution on the lap 60 mark, where we will have our first stage results. So again, keep an eye on that. That'll be lap 60. You see the yellow flag come out for a planned caution. It'll be Longacre and Centini on the front row. So let's see, Longacre, Centini, the front row as the pace car comes in. DeWeese and Dyer will be on your second row. As we wait for the green flag to fly. And away they go for the first time at Phoenix. And already we've got DeWeese trying to make moves down through the dogleg. Looks like he's going to take over the second place spot from Longacre. As the field stacks up behind him, this will allow Centini to get an early advance over the rest of the field. And drivers very quickly jockeying for position. Go a little bit further back. You can see Diego Villalobos, Billy Fitzgerald going at it. Matt White, Villalobos Jr. here in the fray. And early side-by-side action for our competitors from about fourth place back, fifth place back. will be Diego Villalobos, Matt White, Billy Fitzgerald, Julio Villalobos, Brent Wall all in the mix here as the top 4 drivers quickly break down single file, trying to avoid the mad dash behind them. But look at this, Matt White using the dogleg to his advantage to try and pick up a spot from Diego. And it looks like he's going to be able to make that happen here. Watching White still defending against Diego Villalobos' number 43 Chevrolet. But the Toyota Camry of Matt White already up 2 spots, and it looks like he's going to try and get settled in a groove as right behind him, Billy Fitzgerald and Julio Villalobos going side by side as well. Looks like Fitzgerald had the momentum on the outside line. No, the inside line, number 22 of Fitzgerald, so that's Julio riding around the high line, trying to make something happen. Trying to keep Fitzgerald pinned down there when he can. And Julio holds on to that 7th place spot. Six laps in, and looks like Billy Fitzgerald's going to get a position from Brent Wall, moving that number 22 machine up into 8th place, or at least maintaining the 8th place, as Wall took a couple early shots from the inside line. And a little bit further up ahead, things starting to get a little bit more heat in the battle for 3rd. Evan Longacre trying to defend against Matthew Dyer. Longacre in the 95 machine. Dyer currently showing the number 2 paint scheme on his Ford Mustang. Or at least, number 2 on lifetime and scoring 75 out on track. And Dyer putting the pressure on Longacre once more. And we will have a little bit of side-by-side action in the battle for 3rd. Looks like Dyer's going to get clear, not quite. And Longacre's going to try working that outside groove, but right behind these two, Matt White, the number 48 Toyota Camry, starting to get a little bit closer. As the 3rd and 4th place drivers slowing down the pace slightly. As right now, 3rd place Matthew Dyer is falling about 2.4 seconds back from Braxton DeWeese, running 2nd, and a full 3.3 seconds back from your race leader, David Centeni. Long way to go for these drivers. Again, we're taking a caution break, a stage break on lap 60. As great racing all across the track, we're looking at Scott Stevens and Mike Howerton going at it for that 11th place spot. Stevens on the inside line. Howerton makes the line work in his Area 51 backed Ford Mustang. Right now, Howerton in that Ford up 5 spots. But didn't have the qualifying that he was looking for, but able to make something of it here early on in tonight's race. As man, oh man, still more great racing. Brent Wall, Billy Fitzgerald, unable to get away from each other. Both drivers really leaning on each other, trying to make some moves here. Now, the longer the run, it keeps going forward under green flag conditions. You'll see different drivers start to excel depending on how they set things up. But here comes Howerton as well, using that dogleg number 51 machine And it looks like Howerton's going to move up to ninth. Oh, but he's got Fitzgerald right on his back bumper. He's going to try and answer as quickly as he can. Longacre dropping down to the apron, using that dog leg. But that's where things can get a little bit exciting. Drivers cutting across each other's nose. As Deweese maybe has some sort of problem as he comes down pit road on lap 14. Very interesting. But right now, the running order is Centini, Dyer, Longacre, White, and Diego Villalobos running fifth. Now, good point of topic. Both the Villalobos family members running fifth and sixth, one behind the other. Diego running fifth in the 43, Julio running sixth in the 45. So good to see the family coming out in storm and trying to put two drivers up inside the top five. As Matt White will lose a position to Diego. Diego moves up to fourth. And we're watching Matt White to see if he puts the pressure back on Diego's number 43 machine. Now your race leader, David Centeni, absolutely checking out here today, running 5 seconds ahead of the rest of the field at this point and showing no signs of slowing down. Another tight battle out on track. Mike Howerton, Julio Villalobos putting on a show for sixth, as it looks like Howerton really letting it all hang out. The 51's rear end stepping out there. So he's trying to put down the power as quickly as he possibly can. As Howerton dives down on the dogleg to try and make this track a little bit smaller, but still not able to make a move on Julio. Oh, Howerton starts to swap. And oh, hold on to it. No, around goes Howerton. And several drivers get involved in that. I believe that was Timothy Davis, who was trying to avoid the incident, not able to. So Howerton's going to have a fair amount of damage on that number 51 machine. That'll bring out the first caution of the night. Still 40 laps before our expected stage break here today. So we're going to get the field gridded back up. Looks like everybody inside the top 8 stays out, while from 9th to 18th place, everybody else dives down pit road. Now Braxton DeWeese had a head out early. Not sure what happened to the number 8 machine, but put it back in the virtual hauler relatively quickly. Richard Malugani was a did not start here tonight in the 86 machine. So we get ready to grid them back up for the first time tonight. It'll once again be Centini and Longacre the front row. The Villalobos family will round out the second row in their entirety, and then Brent Wall and Robert Norfleet will be on the third row here. And here we go, away they cross the line together, Centini and Longacre, side by side. Centini going way down the dogleg to try and make that track a little bit shorter. And we still have about 34 laps left to go before our lap 60 stage break. As going a little bit further back, the Villalobos family going side by side. They've got Robert Norfleet right in tow in the 56 machine, as well as Brent Wall in the number 6. As we're looking at going 3 wide ahead of them. Drivers looking for alternative lines through the dogleg. Everybody trying to make something happen. Oh, easy there. Looked like that was Dyer. May have very slightly gotten to one of the Villalobos drivers. As Wall getting sandwiched all around the track. Now he's going to be side by side with Julio Villalobos in the battle for 6th. And man, these guys are racing hard, not even to the first stage break. So great racing all across the track. You've got Matthew Dyer battling with Diego Villalobos. You've got Julio Villalobos battling with Brent Wall. And then right behind these two, all sorts of action. Barry Stevens, Blake Fitzgerald, John Binder, all up in the mix here. As here comes Stevens trying an outside line against Brent Wall. And looks like he will get the position. Now Fitzgerald and White will go side by side while approaching quickly the Brent Wall number 6 machine. Ooh, there was almost a little bit of contact there between Fitzgerald and Wall. Fitzgerald number 22 machine, he's still down 4 spots from where he started tonight. As the number 84 of Kyle Mullering goes way down as well, using every bend of the dogleg he possibly can. Now the field's starting to stack up slightly as Timothy Davis, the number 19 machine, we saw him on camera earlier, getting involved in that very first caution of the night with Mike Howerton. Oh, and he's going to be involved in another as around goes Brent Wall. And the number 6 machine, hard impact in that Ford Mustang, and that will bring out the second caution of the night before the stage break has even come out. The Wall is going to try and get back to pit road here and get that machine hammered back into shape. Curious to see how much damage Timothy Davis is going to have as well. That is the second incident he's been involved with. Now, he came in on lap 22 and was in his pit stall for about 49, call it 50 seconds, getting repairs done as we watch Howerton, Garreau, and Wall all come down pit road. Centeni still has not come down pit road yet. Now, second on the grid here, Matthew Dyer. He came in a lap 22 and looks like he took 4 tires and a tank of gas. This is going to be an even shorter sprint race to the lap 60 stage break. And here we go. Pace car is in. Centeni and Dyer, the front row. Villalobos, Longacre, your second row. Norfleet and Stevens, the third row. And here we go. Watch Centeni diving way down low. Evan Longacre is going to follow him in the 95 machine. Now keep an eye out on Dyer running third on track. He's got probably some of the freshest set out there, at least as rubber goes, as well as Barry Stevens now showing fifth on the leaderboard. So we know Centenni's be able to get some big gaps, but look a little bit further back. I think that's Kyle Mullring right in the middle here in that number 84 machine as we're bumping and grinding here under the sun in Arizona. Get a little bit of 2 and 3 wide action on a track that's only a mile long. Matt White making a move on Barry Stevens in the battle for 5th. Stevens goes high while White goes low. And it looks like Dyer with those fresher tires starting to put some pressure on Centeni out front. Centeni has not come down pit road so far tonight while Dyer came in a lap 22. Oh, here we go. The battle for lead about to heat up. Dyer really putting it on Centeni here. Because in less than 20 laps as your race leaders cross the line, that will be the end of the stage break as Dyer tags the outside wall. Almost the same move we saw out of Howerton just earlier in the race to bring out the first caution. And Dyer looks to the inside line of Centeni, seeing if he can put those newer tires to work. Looks like he's going to make it happen here through the dogleg. Centeni on the high line trying to carry some momentum. Looks like Centeni by about a half a car, but no, Dyer's going to answer as we go side by side once more by the pit road wall, and Dyer stepping it out, going to lose a whole lot of drive there. And Centeni is going to hold on to it. So Centeni and Dyer still going at 8 laps before the caution will be thrown for the stage. Barn, if we don't have a caution before then, it's been a rough night for a couple of these drivers to fire things off. But I think Dyer is going to keep pushing here, seeing what he can do and maybe try and force a mistake out of the wall white, number 79, David Centeni. Less than 2/10 separating your race leader. As we go a little bit further back, it looks like Diego Villalobos and Barry Stevens going to go side by side. Stevens on the inside line, Villalobos on the high groove in the 43 machine. While Billy Fitzgerald, Bobby Harmon, Kyle Mullring in hot pursuit as well, allowing these two drivers battling for 5th to punch a massive hole through the air. Now Stevens isn't able to stretch his legs with his newer tires over Diego Villalobos. The field may stack up behind them, and that's what we've seen bring out those cautions tonight. Drivers getting a little bit close in the run, and speaking of close, Centeni's got even more pressure for the lead as Dyer still not able to get his momentum on the old start-finish line stretch to make something happen on Centeni, getting outside the groove and just can't quite put the power down. Despite the newer tires on the second place driver, Matthew Dyer. Dyer trying everything he can with just a little bit more than 11 laps left to go on this stage. As we're watching Longacre and White battle as well for the third place spot. Looks like White's going to have it here in the 48 machine, while Longacre does what he can with his older tires. Oh, Dyer, though, still putting the business to Centeni. And a final 9-lap shootout before our caution is thrown for the stage break. Are we going to see Dyer able to pull something off? Centeni still on 52-lap old tires. The fact that he's hanging on at all is extremely impressive. And now Centeni actually gains about 4/10 gap over Dyer. And Dyer must know White and Longacre in hot pursuit. They want to get up there in a top 3, top 2, maybe even try and win the stage. Five laps left to go on the stage. We're watching Matthew Dyer running second to see if he can fend off White and Longacre. These drivers have about 8, 9 tenths over Barry Stevens, who rounds out the top 5. As your race leader, David Centeni, has got the number 79 Chevrolet hooked up and making big ground here, extending his gap over the rest of the field. Looks like the guy's starting to get a little bit stretched out, and so you go further back to 7th place. And oh, is that a busy spot? That's Billy Fitzgerald, Kyle Mulring, Bobby Harmon, all together here. Everybody trying to make themselves squarely inside the top 10 before the stage break happens on lap 60. Fitzgerald and Mulring still side by side. Bobby Harmon right behind, looking for a way through in the 73 machine. He's going to drop in behind Fitzgerald. And then hopping high to get behind Mulring. So trying to see what line's going to work best for him here. And some great racing as the stage break gets ready to happen. Looks like Fitzgerald's going to fall back just a little bit with Brent Wall right behind him. Wall will round out the top 10. And we go back to your race leader, David Centini, looking good. 6/10 ahead over Matt Dyer and Matt White, running second and third. And Centini will cross the line first as the stage break gets ready to come out for our drivers. So it will be David Centini, Matt Dyer, Matt White, Evan Longacre, Barry Stevens, Diego Villalobos, Kyle Mulring, Bobby Harmon, Billy Fitzgerald, and Brent Wall, your top 10 drivers for this stage break here today. Well done. Centini will take 4 tires here for the first time tonight at Phoenix. Pit crew busily working. As Evan Longacre also gets off the jack stands. Here we go after the stage break. Centeni and Dyer will be on the front row to bring us home. We've got a long way left to go for these drivers, 110 laps still remaining. Centeni with a big launch right behind Tim Dyer and Longacre, and look at the freight. A little bit further back, Diego Villalobos, Bobby Harmon all in the mix. And now drivers, some of these drivers coming out with fresh tires for the very first time tonight. The cars will be a little bit more loose than they've come to expect in the opening 60 laps. Remember, some drivers like Centeni stayed out on their original set here, ran it all the way down to the cords. As we're watching Villalobos and Harmon side by side, the field still pretty well bunched together. Centeni and Dyer have a just slight breakaway from Matt White and Evan Longacre. But Phoenix leads to some interesting line choices and ways to break the draft, as now Centeni puts about 3 to 4 tenths on Dyer. Centeni still holding a 4/10 gap over Dyer. Well, let's go a little bit further back in the field to 10th place Robert Norfleet, who has John Binder, Julio Villalobos, Timothy Davis, Mike Howardson all in the fray here. But now with no more planned cautions for the evening, this is where you're going to see drivers who have set up for a long run start to shine, knowing that there's not so much a sprint as it becomes a full-blown endurance to see who can keep that average lap time the lowest over the duration of the run. Try and maintain some tire wear and keep rocking and rolling in a forward momentum. So even for the most part, things stretching out. And Julio Villalobos had some sort of problems. He's now running 15th on track. And almost getting in there with Brent Wall, the number 6 machine. And that's the great thing about here racing on a Thursday night. Doesn't matter where you're at on track, there's usually somebody you can sit out there and bang doors with some great hard racing. We still have 18 drivers on the lead lap. Only one driver so far had to retire early, as Timothy Davis in the 92 machine is going to come down pit road. You pan the camera back up front, focusing on Matthew Dyer running second. He's about 9 tenths behind Centeni and about 7 tenths ahead of Matt White. And And more side-by-side action. This is Kyle Mullering, Billy Fitzgerald in the battle for 8th. Mullering in the number 84 machine, Fitzgerald in the 22. Right behind them, Robert Norfleet finds some space, and he finds some speed, I should say, and joins the fray. And again, this is where things can get heated. You got drivers come out on relatively fresh tires, and now they're having that extra grip available to them to make some big moves that they won't be able to make later in the run when they go into prime time tire saving mode. We're watching the 3-car battle. Fitzgerald, Mullering, Norfleet, all here. And everybody pushing hard early on in the run. Up front, it's still Centeni, Dyer, White, Longacre, your top 4. Diego Villalobos rounds out the top 5. And the top 5 running pretty good here. Centeni extends his lead now to 1.4 seconds with no sign of slowing down. He's running about a 10th faster than Matthew Dyer. Their last time by, as we see Kyle Mullering will take a lunge through the dog leg, and he'll send it up the inside line of Fitzgerald, in contact. Net code perhaps, but around goes Fitzgerald. Oh, should have locked up the brakes there. And he gets finished off by, I believe, Julio Villalobos. And Scott Stevens also gets involved, missing his front end. So Scott Stevens, Brent Wall, Billy Fitzgerald, all involved, bringing out our 3rd caution of the night, with Centeni still up front, only 20 laps later after our stage break. So again, that'll be our 3rd caution of the night. It looks like Centeni's going to come down pit road. Interesting enough, Dyer, White, Diego Villalobos, Bobby Harmon, Barry Stevens, Kyle Mullering, they're going to stay out here and inherit the top 5. So now it's going to be Dyer in that top spot, White right behind him. David Centeni will be starting 7th, your previous race leader, after his lap 80 pit stop. Still 90 laps left to go after the 3rd caution of the evening. So here we go with the pace car and Dyer and White, your front row. Villalobos, Harmon, your second row. Mulring and Stevens will be your third row. And then from about 7th place back, you're going to have a whole lot of fast drivers with fresh tires underneath them. Dyer with a big launch, using every little bit of the dogleg he can. As behind him is Matt White settled in, but Bobby Harmon looks like he's going to battle briefly with Villalobos. Villalobos settling in slightly for the 4th place spot. Don't want to get too far out of the groove early on, knowing they're on older tires and maybe these drivers have to work together to stay ahead of those who just took fresh rubber. Ooh, look at the 3-wide action. That was Norfleet, Mulring, Stevens putting on a show. As who's that way down low? That's Evan Longacre using every little bit of the dogleg. Now Longacre also came in a lap 80. He wants to get that charge going because he knows Centeni has already worked his way up into 5th. Make that 4th. Centeni is on rails here, getting closer and closer to making his way around Matt White's number 48 machine. And he's going to be trying to catch up to Dyer and take away those laps led from your current race leader. We put the live timing. Excuse me, we notice the live time on the left side of your screen. It's Dyer, Centeni, White, Norfleet, Harmon, your top 5. And Centeni on fire here. Now Robert Norfleet also came in a lap 80. He's up to 4th. So the 20-lap or almost 20-lap newer tires really playing well to some of these drivers as here comes the battle for the lead. Centeni on the inside, Dyer on the outside. Centeni will slide up in front of Dyer, take over the race lead. And right behind these two, we see Norfleet and White putting on a show. Norfleet with 18-lap newer tires than White is going to try and put his head down to catch back up to Centeni, who's running almost a full second ahead of the number 56 third-place driver, Norfleet. As now Norfleet's going to put in work against Dyer's number 2. And now let's see if Norfleet will be able to catch up to Centeni, who's very quickly gotten a 1.7 second gap on the rest of the field. Other drivers making move with fresher tires. Evan Longacre trying to make his way forward right behind White, who's holding on with slightly older tires. I say slightly. 18 laps is a pretty long time here in the underneath the Arizona sun. As Longacre holds on to 4th place after getting around Matt White. Now he's going to try and work on Matthew Dyer and see if he can work that 95 Chevrolet up into podium contention. Still a lot of racing left to go and at least one green flag stop remaining if we keep this thing caution-free to the end. But we've seen in the past, when you get drivers bunched up and the tires have really fallen off, that's when we start seeing drivers' mistakes, as well as the attrition starting to play a factor for these guys. Now that Longacre's worked his way up into 3rd, go a little bit further back. Bobby Harmon, Barry Stevens going a little bit of side-by-side action. Now both these drivers are on the same tire strategy. Both came in on lap 62, and we believe took 4 fresh tires. Mike Howerton right behind them in the number 51 machine. As the field definitely getting a little bit spread out here. Man, oh man, these guys are battling hard. Howerton makes the move on Harmon. And now he's going to see if he can work on the 78 of Stevens. Now he's coming in after a lap 80 pit stop, but we believe Howerton only took fuel. He was only in his pit stall for 6.4 seconds. So good to see so many big moves being made across the field. As now that's going to be John Binder racing with Matt White in the battle for 5th. White in the 48, Binder in the all-red number 33 machine. Now right now it's going to be Norfleet and Binder, 2 of your hardest chargers out on track. And if Binder can get this position clear, it'll be just him. As Robert Norfleet running 2nd is up 12 spots. And Binder currently showing 6th, up 12 spots as well. If he can somehow make a move and make it stick against White, he'll make it a clean 13, and that will make him the hard charger so far this evening. As it looks like Binder getting around White. And he will now put pressure on Matthew Dyer. Dyer holding on as best as he can with those older tires. And now you're really seeing the game on play, how things are going to work up. I love calling good green flag racing, allowing these drivers to show both their skill on the track as well as what they can do planning and making strategy coming out to tonight's event, as you never know how many cautions you're going to have. Historically, here at the Midwest Sim Racing Association Rapid Fire Pizza Nationals, usually a lot of green flag racing, not too many problems or woes. But that can change very, very quickly out here. As we watch Binder and Dyer still 2/10 apart. And now, so late in the race, for most of these drivers, the tire wear really started to become a factor. The moves you're going to be seeing made will be a little bit slower motion than what we've seen early on. As it's pretty easy to dive it in deep and then suddenly find yourself without the tires, without the grip to make that move stick. And the last thing that any of these drivers want to do is crash into a good friend late in the race. As Centenni's still comfortably out front by 2.8 seconds. Robert Norfleet second, Evan Longacre third. Oh, here comes Binder, still side by side with Dyer. Looks like Dyer got a little bit loose there. Looks like he's been really struggling to put the power down tonight, as we've seen that back end dance ever so slightly out of Dyer's Ford Mustang on the high line. Binder with much fresher tires, although he's going to be feeling the effects of tire wear as well by this point. Trying to stay on that bottom groove, but that may be eating up a little bit more rubber than he wants. And here comes Matt White as well in the 48 machine. He wants a piece of the top 5 action. And we will have a 3-car battle for 4th with Dyer, Binder, White, all in the mix together. So Dyer will get a little bit of chance of reprieve here as White and Binder spend some time battling for 5th. Already Dyer's pulled 4/10 of a gap off these two drivers. Binder trying to use those new tires to his advantage, while Diego Villalobos running 7th, hoping these 3 drivers slow each other down and allow him an opportunity to battle for the top 5. As it looks like Dyer's maybe being caught again by White and Binder, as they make their way around traffic. Trying to see just who that is. I think that's the 89 of Sean Guru. Letting the faster drivers a lap ahead by as quickly as he can. And it is once again a 3-car battle for 4th. Dyer, White, and Binder all in the mix. Now these 3 drivers are 7 seconds behind Evan Longacre, who's currently 3rd on track, as your top 3 drivers have over a second between them. Colby Baber, the number 10 machine, will be the first driver down pit road for a green flag stop on lap 116. John Binder also follows suit, coming down pit road, leaving Dyer and White to their own devices. Now both Dyer and White came in last on lap 62, so they're really stretching it out here to see how far they can go on fuel. But that may be putting them in a good spot for later on in the evening to bring it home with some of the relatively freshest tires out on track. It's going to be interesting to see how that strategy pays out for these drivers. I mean, we're about 60 laps in from the stage break, and Dyer and White still the two closest drivers on track. That is a game of mutual trust amongst competitors, knowing neither driver is going to make any silly mistakes here that may end their nights here a little bit early. Kyle Mullering, number 84 machine, he comes down pit road. I'm curious to see if Dyer and White are going to come in together here when it's finally time for them to throw some fuel and tires in these machines. Or maybe one driver is going to opt in to come in a little bit early to try and get some clean track ahead of them. But right now, Dyer and White just running almost identical lap times, lap after lap, both almost running about 29-second flat times. But that also gives you an idea of how much the tire wear affecting these drivers, over 1.3 seconds slower than their fastest laps of the race. Dyer's a great example of that. His fastest lap was a 27.66, his last time by at 29.1. So the tire wear definitely a factor, as they have not been down pit road in over 60 laps out here at Phoenix. Running those tires all the way down. And they're still about a second and a half ahead of Diego Villalobos, who sits in 6th. So a little bit of smoke on the track. Not quite sure where that was from. That's somebody down the apron. I think that may have been Julio. Maybe had some sort of problem there, but no caution coming out. And now we've got two battles out on track. Matt White putting the pressure on Matthew Dyer. And you've also got Barry Stevens putting some pressure on Diego Villalobos. We pan the camera just a little bit further back, as it looks like Diego able to hold on to the spot, but drivers may be trying to make some moves here, knowing that the fuel window will be closing very rapidly. Looks like Stevens is going to come down pit road. And that'll allow Diego Villalobos a little bit clean track ahead of him. No clean track for Dyer and White, though, as they're still linked up. Oh, what's going on this? Julio shows problems at the start-finish line, keeping forward momentum. I don't think the caution's going to come out here, but Julio looks like he's driving wounded in that number 45 machine. I would assume he's going to stay off the racing line and try and maybe limp it back to pit road. You can see the rear end damage on that 45 machine, but he's going to stay out and try and keep some forward momentum here. Dyer in white still duking it out. As your race leader, David Centini, comes down pit road, as well as Evan Longacre running second. Now, those two drivers last came in on lap 80, so there's some definite different fuel and tire strategies out here tonight. So that's going to kind of swap things up rather rapidly for the top five. We're waiting to see if Villalobos and Davis come down pit road. As now it is Norfleet, Dyer, Villalobos taking over the top three, and Robert Norfleet is going to come down pit road. Will Dyer and Villalobos follow suit, or are they going to try and get at least another lap led here on at Phoenix? So Matthew Dyer is going to be all out there in no man's land as everyone else starts to come down pit road. It is Dyer and Villalobos who are still staying out after their lap 62 pit stop. The only two drivers to be staying out after that fuel run. Timothy Davis showing third in the 92 Ford Mustang. His last pit stop was on lap 80. So in theory, he should be able to go a little bit longer than your current race leaders. But just over 40 laps in today's main event. How much benefit are these drivers going to have staying out versus throwing on some fresh tires and maybe having a slightly quicker run till the end? It's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. Again, the name of the game here tonight, ladies and gentlemen, not the driver who can go out and put down the fastest lap and just put down one lap. It's about trying to keep those lap times as low as you can over the duration of the run, not using up those tires too early, and having enough at the end to make something happen. Dyer is going to keep stretching that run out, as right now it shows 7 drivers on the lead lap, a dangerous place to be in if we have a late race caution. How long is Dyer going to stretch it out here? As behind him, Diego Villalobos looks like he's closing the gap slightly in that 43 machine. Now we know Diego had a couple problems early on, but things seem to be going relatively well for the driver. Here comes Villalobos trying to make something happen. Now at this point, both drivers have got to know their tires are just about done. They've been out an excruciatingly long time, 80 laps since their last pit stop here in Arizona. Matthew Dyer comes down pit road. Villalobos is going to get a lap led. He's showing about 13 seconds ahead of Centeni, who came in a lap 128. 36 more laps, 35 as Villalobos crosses the line here. So Villalobos comes down pit road for what could be the final time. David Centeni taking over the race lead after leading a whole lot earlier here today. Now Centeni showing 3 seconds ahead over Robert Norfleet. If we go back though, we still got great racing across the track as John Binder makes a move on Timothy Davis for 4th. Davis, one of those drivers after a lap 81 stop, just maintaining, trying to make it to the end of his run here. But will this bite Davis in the 92 machine, as now he still has a long way to go, a relatively long way to go, but yes, he'll have some of the freshest tires out on track, but will he have enough laps led to make anything happen with it? So Centeni out front with a very large margin here, 2.7 seconds ahead of Robert Norfleet. Centeni came in on lap 128, Norfleet on lap 129, and it looks like only two drivers trying alternative strategy. That's going to be Timothy Davis running 5th. He came in last on lap 81, and Julio Villalobos in the 45 machine, he came in last on lap 80, and we're down to just 12 drivers on the lead lap here. So let's go a bit further back to see if Kyle Mullring is going to be able to catch up to Barry Stevens. Mullring a half-second back to the 8th place driver, Barry Stevens. And surely at this point, drivers knowing not a lot of time left relatively to make any big moves. There's 25 laps left to go as Centeni crosses the line here. And very interesting how the strategy is going to work out, as most of the drivers will not plan on coming back down pit road, barring any late race cautions. They've got enough fuel. We've seen them really stretch out some laps here. Being about 60 laps is what we're getting out of some of the drivers on fuel. Oh, what's that? Barry Stevens has a big blink in the 78 machine. Hopefully he gets that corrected. And that may allow Matthew Dyer and Kyle Mullring to make some moves and get a little bit closer. As we hear something going out on track. I heard a little bumping and grinding somewhere. So somebody's having a problem. We're taking a look at the speeds. It looks like Fitzgerald has slowed way down the number 22 machine. Currently 17th on track, several laps down, and he's either ran out of fuel or had some sort of major mechanical. And oh no, that will be our 4th caution of the night here. Oh no, with 22 laps left to go. Oh, and Julio has problems. Julio in the 45 machine has problems as well, as he waits for the field to come around. Oh, a close moment. So we had Fitzgerald bringing out the caution. At least I believe it was Fitzgerald that brought out that caution. And this will be interesting. Who's going to come down pit road and try and take some tires here? I would imagine everyone. I can't imagine anybody's going to stay out at this point. Trying to see, it looks like Villalobos in the 43 machine stays out. And everyone else comes down pit road to take a final set of tires, and what will be about a 17-lap shootout till the end here. As we are again under eye-pacing conditions for the 4th time here tonight. This is going to be interesting, getting very close to Mad Dash shootout positions. And it's only Diego Villalobos, it looks like, to opt to stay out, risking it all for the track position. As drivers start to get their wave around here. Oh, let's see. As it's going to be Villalobos on the old tires and Centini on the front row. Behind them, Norfleet, Longacre, Binder, and White, your third row. And away we go for what could be the final time here tonight. As everybody in a mad dash towards the rear. Looks like it's going to be Matthew Dyer trying the inside line against Binder. Norfleet makes a pass on Centini up towards the front as it looks like we're going to go 3 wide for the race lead. Things are getting a little heated out here, and it's not just the Arizona sun. 3 wide once more. Who's going to take use of the dog leg? So you got all sorts of stuff going on. Norfleet, Centini, Longacre battling hard. And who's that? That's John Binder, throws it around. The 73 machine of Bobby Harmon also involved in that one. Oh, we are going to have a rough night for several drivers, as that is our 5th caution of the evening, with Binder and Harmon involved in that one. And oh man, things are getting out of sorts here. All right, let's see what's going to happen here. 12 laps left to go. Grid up for the restart. Norfleet, Centennial, the front row. White, Longacre, your second row. Mullering and Dyer, your third row. Will we be able to get another start going on here? It's about midfield is where the excitement's been happening. And away goes Norfleet and Centennial. Let's check further back in on Mike Howerton, who has a big blink in the number 51 machine, but still able to get a spot on Binder. Stevens tries to make a move as well. Was your race leader, Robert Norfleet, nearly getting ahead of Centennial over. Oh, what's going on here? Looks like Howerton came across. Brent Wall gets tied up in that one. John Binder with a massive hit, as I believe Sean Guru also involved in that. So, oh, not even a full lap before the caution comes out on lap 165 for our sixth caution of the evening. Still not quite in the green-white checker conditions here tonight. But right back again to eye pacing. What a interesting night here tonight. This may be some of the most cautions I think I've seen. Now, we knew things were going to get heated at Phoenix, but I didn't quite expect it to be so much, to be honest. As I believe if we have another caution, we're going to put this in green-white checker conditions. Here we go, Norfleet and Centennial on the front row. Will we be able to get to the end here without the caution coming out once more? They've only got about 7 laps left to do it. It'll be 6 at the line. And Norfleet hops down way down the inside apron, using that dogleg right behind him. Longacre and Centini going at it. Longacre up the inside line, Centini on the high groove. Right behind these two, it's Matthew Dyer, Diego Villalobos fighting for the top 5 spot here tonight. Looks like we're going to break down single file for just a moment as a massive send from Diego Villalobos in the 43. Almost getting to the back of Matthew Dyer. Dyer must have had wide eyes in the rearview mirror there as we watch Centini and Longacre using the dogleg, trying to get around Robert Norfleet. Looks like Centini's going to make it happen. Will Longacre try and follow suit as Centini and Norfleet still side by side? Passing the grandstands, Norfleet has the run, but Centini has the preferred line, going air and deep on the inside line. Longacre and Dyer still side by side. It's going to be Norfleet at the line by 900ths of a second. Look at Longacre going way down low on the dogleg, trying to make this track as small as he possibly can. Norfleet holding on to the lead, but here comes Matthew Dyer. He's going to challenge Longacre in the battle for third, the final podium spot. 4 laps left to go, 3 this time by. It's Norfleet, Centini, Longacre, Dyer, and Villalobos. Diego Villalobos, I should say, rounding out the top 5. Dyer, Longacre, all making their way around. Look how low Longacre's going down the dogleg to make that move happen. Still side by side with Dyer as lap drivers hopping out of the way. And no, that's going to be Robert Norfleet getting a penalty, serving a caution. Not maintaining his lane on the final restart after race control review. Robert Norfleet, who was looking so good to bring home a win here, will be done and out of the race, and things are going to heat up in the battle for second as Centini has pulled a 9/10 gap over Longacre, Dyer, Villalobos, who were fighting tooth and nail. The white flag will be out this time by white flag is indeed out, so we will not use our green-white checker attempts here tonight. Centini out front, Longacre second, Dyer and Villalobos will now fight for third. Villalobos looks the inside line of Dyer. Right behind as well as Matt White, looking for one of these drivers to make some sort of mistake. But here very shortly, David Centini will be taking the checkered, yes, the checkered flag. Proudly flies for David Centini. As everything's still not quite decided, it's going to be Centini, Longacre, and Diego Villalobos, your top 3 here at Phoenix. And David Centini is going to burn it down here after a big win, as I believe this may put him as the most winningest driver so far this season. And well done, David Centini, picking up yet another win, with Evan Longacre finishing second and Diego Villalobos finishing third. My time is done for the evening with Team Goon Squad Broadcasting. Don't go anywhere. We're going to get our podium interviews here in just one moment. Thank you all so much for tuning in to the 2022 Midwest Sim Racing Association Rapid Fire Pizza Nationals, brought to you live by Team Goon Squad. Have a great night, everyone.
Hey everyone, here we are after this great race at Phoenix, Arizona with the Rapid Fire Pizza League. I am Mike Howardson, and we are hosting these after-race interviews. First up is the man who slid into the podium in third place and that is Diego. There was a lot of cars in this race, dude, and they were full of damage. And the question I have for you is, were you able to keep your car clean, and was that part of your secret to success tonight?
Yes, it was a very bumpy race. I always was keeping my car safety because all cars get um, it was very difficult. So as, I I don't believe it. I'm pretty nervous. Sorry.
Oh, that's okay, man. Hey, had fun racing and kind of trying to settle down a bit here and relax. Yeah, the dog leg here in Phoenix is something that some guys they drive it down into the dog leg. Some guys stay on the track, and a lot of times that affects the way you build your setup as well. What was your strategy with the dog leg? Did you cut the dog leg? Did you stay on the track? And did that play in any to you guys working on your set this week?
Well, all the race I stayed in the track. At the final, I get low to the left round to keep advancing.
Awesome. And next week we got Atlanta coming up. And what are you guys doing, and how you get preparing and getting ready for next week in Atlanta?
Practicing all night.
Hey, that'll do it for you. Get yourself some coffee and some donuts and pull an all-nighter. And I think you guys are doing good. You're fast this week. Congratulations on the third place. Is there anything else you'd like to add or say, or any sponsors you'd like to thank?
I will want to say thank you for my brother because he always helped me in the races. It's all. Thank you.
All right, we have got a couple of guys who's been up on the podium already in this season, and we're just a few weeks in. And the first one we're going to talk to is the man who finished second place tonight. He was also the winner at our virtual Daytona race here at the Rapid Fire Pizza League, and that is Mr. Evan Longacre. Evan, how does it feel to be on the podium again?
It's a great rebound. I had a really bad race last week. I think I finished like 16th. So, I mean, it's nice whenever you miss that bad on the setup and, you just don't drive a good race. I mean, I've had some issues. I've hit some people last week. I just all around had a bad race. So it's always good when you rebound with, a solid finish and a clean car. That really makes life in the virtual racing space a lot better.
Well, when you're the league sponsor, it's a little hard for people to stay mad at you, isn't it?
That is true, but I try and not use that to my advantage. I try and stay accountable, and when I mess up, I try and, take responsibility for it. And, I tell I don't ever want to be called different or have anything different thrown my way in my favor because of that. So, but no, it's still always nice whenever you follow it up like this.
Absolutely. I was just messing with you and joking with you. As one thing I noticed that you and David were doing both, and I'll ask him about it here in just a second, is so when the first caution came out in the race, that was all me. I got loose on the back. What's the back stretch now? It used to be the front stretch, and I just got all wild and loose and spun out and caused caution, but I was able to recover. But anyway, everybody else seemed to duck in. I went in and got repairs, but I noticed the two of you did not go into the pits. Y'all stayed out on original tires, and that really seemed to pay off for both of you. Can you talk a little bit about that and tell the viewers kind of like what you guys were thinking and why you chose to do a bit of a different tire strategy than everybody else?
Yeah, so no, the that caution came out. There was a good bit of laps on our tires. I don't know if it was 20 or whatever. But we practiced this week, and I felt like we both had really, really good cars underneath of us. I feel like all the work that we did that was really, really solid. David and I were both running a Reaper Speed Labs set this week, and it just fired off well. It maintained good speed. So we were like, well, maybe we're going to get 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, even worse in this stage, but let's stay out and try and save a set of tires. And as it kind of happened, where the way the cars fell off and the way our tires worked and the way our cars were driving, we just both kind of got up on the wheel, and we finished the stage in, I think, 1st and 4th and maintained an extra set of tires. So then at the end of the race, we had an extra set, so we kind of came in and pit, and we were able to drive away from a lot of the people. I think Robert Moslead also came in and pit at that point in time too. We stretched it out to like an 8-second lead over. I had an 8-second lead over 4th place. So that worked out perfectly. And then unfortunately we had that yellow at the end, and cautions breed cautions and all that. But no, I'm really pleased with the way the cars drove, and David and I were both able to get up on the wheel and really hold our own on 20-lap-old tires.
Yeah, and you mentioned there your strategy played out great. You had that 8-second lead you just mentioned there towards the end of the race, and all of a sudden there goes the yellow flag. What was going through your mind then?
That was a 4-letter word, and it started with S. So, no, I wasn't. We didn't want to see that. I was looking forward to trying to catch Robert. Robert was really fast. I was looking forward to having a good battle with him. He got up there, and we were batching each other lap for lap, so he had a really good car. So I was looking forward to that. David was staying about 5 seconds ahead of me. I don't think I had anything for him at that time, but I just had no pressure behind me, didn't have to worry about it. My car was definitely better on the longer run than the short run. So I was just like, I'm either going to finish okay out of this. I might get wrecked. I might end up upside down on fire. I might finish 10th. So I really didn't know what was going to happen. So, no, definitely didn't want to see that first caution that kind of started all that.
Well, Evan, congratulations on the 2nd place finish tonight. A lot of hard work for you guys paid off, and excited, looking forward to next week to be back out on the track with you.
No, absolutely. I really enjoy running with everybody. I know we're all competing and kind of the heat of the moment stuff, and I really enjoy racing with everybody. It's neat having between 20 and 30-ish cars every single week, and some really clean racing. So just congratulations to everybody in the field for the most part. I think we run pretty clean race in and race out. But as we head out of here, I get ready to head out, I've got to thank a couple people. I got to thanks to Rapid Fire Pizza for sponsoring the series. That's the restaurant that I have in Indiana, so thanks to them, and thanks to Old School Ninjas for being the other co-sponsor of the league with us. Got to thank the team that I'm on, OSN Racing. We all had really good cars this week, and everybody hangs out and runs well. I had fun racing there at the end with Matt Dyer for the final position, and just congratulations to David for winning, and for Diego for getting on the podium. I don't know if that's his first podium or what, but I know it's his first of the season, so congratulations to him on that.
Awesome. Thanks, Evan. It's good hearing from you. Let's go ahead and move on to right now to our winner of the race, David Santini. Man, you were on fire tonight. You and Evan both working your guys' strategy. How does it feel to win the race?
Yeah, Mike, no, it feels really good. I think we had, 2 runner-up finishes here in a row, so finally able to get one here, get the win. A little unfortunate the way it had to happen there at the end with everything with Robert. I thought that was going to be fun racing there. But nonetheless, a win's a win. So, yeah.
Yeah, I've been talking to some